This segment will deal particularly with tips and suggestions and challenges for facilitators themselves. We'll begin by talking about what it takes, or who is called, or what is asked of someone who is going to be an Engaging Spirituality co-facilitator. There are a few qualities to be looked for in a co-facilitator. Ideally, a co-facilitator is someone who has discerned a sense of call, someone who understands the why and the how of this process, someone who is ready to spend time in prayerful preparation, is willing to set aside his or her own ideas and ego and agenda to make room for the Holy Spirit to lead. So what kind of preparation or training is involved in becoming an ES co-facilitator? Well, all potential facilitators are expected to first of all review all the introductory materials, those which you will see on our web page. Also to attend an Engaging Spirituality event or a webinar such as this. To schedule then a follow-up conversation with a member of our staff, Engaging Spirituality staff, myself, Joe Grant, or my colleague Tricia Lloyd-Seidel, and or one of the Engaging Spirituality animators, those are regional trainers and promoters who are located around the country. I'd like to take a moment to underscore a few of the commonly experienced issues that are often mentioned by co-facilitators that can be particularly challenging. Presence, presence, presence. Presence at the sessions is vital. Because our groups are small and this process is intimate, one absence affects the whole group. And as we know, gospel spirituality requires a commitment of time and presence. Jesus did not say, "Follow me when you have the spare time." We make the time for presence. And facilitators need to encourage participants and model that commitment to the group is not optional. They may need to help participants understand just how their presence impacts the whole group process. Another challenge concerns the details of the process. Details, details, details. Sometimes facilitators are challenged by the sheer abundance of material we provide. And we do provide detailed instructions and a script for an important reason, because this frees up the co-facilitators to participate in the process even as they guide it. It also allows for a variety of persons to be co-facilitators, and not just those who are experienced group leaders. Most facilitators come to appreciate this. And we encourage facilitators to trust the process and let themselves be guided by it. And as they become more familiar with the flow of the process and the nature of their group, it will become easier for facilitators to begin to gently edit the script and shape it to their particular group and context. Unfortunately, most of us are not well schooled in the art of sacred listening. But active listening is a challenging aspect of this process. Facilitators do need to be intentional in setting and maintaining respectful and reverent practices of heart sharing and prayerful listening. As you may know, groups can easily become chatty, especially as they become familiar with one another. And inevitably, some voices begin to dominate if allowed to do so. So to help maintain this listening space and prayerful pace, we have introduced a ritual flow to the sharing times. Now initially this can seem restrictive but as people fall into the process, it does become liberating. And it does allow for space to open up for those quieter voices, and also recognizes the role and place of silence as a way of sharing. Resistance. Occasionally there are participants who will resist this process, perhaps complaining that it is not what they expected. Every situation, of course, is unique and requires care and attention on the part of the facilitators to listen and encourage full and active participation. And it helps to keep several things in mind. Number one, it is important to make sure potential participants understand the nature of the sessions before they make the commitment to join a group. This is why we do stress in the introductory presentation the important role that discernment plays in coming to commitment for a process like this. And number two, resistance often emerges after a couple of sessions at the outset. And usually, if people persist and participate, the same people who resisted at this early point later come to express deep gratitude for the process itself. Fortunately, it's not often, but in reality there is sometimes a need for the co-facilitator to help someone discern that engaging spirituality is not for them at this point in their lives. This is a hard call for a group, but it is better to deal with this honestly and carefully than attempting to continue with someone whose unhappiness is disruptive and infectious. So to sum this up, we invite co-facilitators and participants to commit to presence, to the process and to the community. We ask them to trust the script, to use the covenant and in order to respond to resistance, to hold open a listening and reverential space. And please know that we are happy to talk with facilitators about any of the problems your group is experiencing. And finally, we have put together this slide to answer the question about next steps. How does one begin to launch the engaging spirituality process in a parish or community? It begins with discerning the call to facilitate and or participate. It involves then identifying the co-facilitators, at least two, securing then a locale, a parish or a community that will endorse the group, making announcements so that people feel invited, making personal invitations, and offering the introductory session to provide people a taste of the experience. And then if the people who have gathered and are interested are not known to you, then we recommend the interview process for potential participants. And finally, registering your group once you have 5 or more people committed. So this concludes our online training for engaging spirituality co-facilitators. We encourage you to contact myself, Joe Grant, or my colleague Tricia Lloyd-Sido directly via phone or email with your questions so that we can then accompany you on your engaging spirituality journey. God bless.